to Musicahan. Hi, I'm Nina, all the way from Singapore, and so happy to have the first of my own solo episode at Musicahan. Today, we are going to be featuring the young Filipino artist, Dr. Oliver Salonga, whom I met when he was 14 in Singapore, and that was in the year 2002 at the Asian Suzuki Conference. So welcome, Dr. Oliver Salonga to Musicahan.
Hello, Miss Nina. How are
How
you?
are you? I'm so happy to see you, Ollie. How time has
Yeah,
flown.
it's been a while, but I want to thank you for inviting me to Musikahan, and hope to see you in person soon.
Yes, I last remember, Ollie, that we met about 3 years ago around Chinese New Year, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken, in 2019, right? And we even
yeah,
went to the Esplanade and also had lunch at Shangri-La, Shang Palace. Yes.
yes.
So what a memorable time. So now welcome to this episode that we have on. And we are going to be talking about one of my favorite pieces. And I think indeed what I can remember, the first piece I heard you play, and that was Rachmaninoff Concerto Number 2, right? But
Yes.
before we do anything else, we must read and tell the audience how Dr. Oliver Salonga arrived at getting his doctorate. So now I will read his impressive CV. So give me a moment and let's share it with everyone. Okay. So praised for his emotional energy and technical finesse, Dr. Oliver Salonga has performed in major concert halls in 4 continents, such as Carnegie Hall of in the United States, Harmony Hall of Japan, Oriental Arts Center, and New South Wales Concert Hall of Australia, to name a few. He is a full-time professor at the Piano Conservatory at European Academy of Fine Arts, professor at EuroArts Global Academy, artistic director of Hangzhou Solan Music Institute, and artist faculty at Shanghai Face Arts Institute of Music. He regularly hosts masterclasses and lectures and is also a guest faculty at major international music festivals in the world, such as the Perugia Music Festival and Halle International Festival. He is also a recording artist under KNS Classical and a teaching excellence awardee from various musical organizations. So it is with great pleasure that we welcome Dr. Oliver Salonga to Musicahan.
Thank you so
Welcome,
much.
Ollie.
My pleasure to be here, Miss Nina. Thank you so much.
Yes. Mm. Now, I would just like to ask you, right? As I said, remembering about the first time I met you, and that was in 2002, and you were playing this for Philippines, and it was the Rachmaninoff Concerto Number 2, and this is the concerto we are featuring because not only is it a beautiful concerto, but it has in the past in the movies, many movies had classical music in them. And one of the pieces that was quite often featured is this particular concerto. So I would like to ask you a question now. Are you ready, Ollie?
Sure.
Okay. Why do you love playing this concerto?
Okay, so I actually fell in love with this concerto way before I actually started learning it. Um, because my mom, usually when she goes out of the country, she buys a lot of CD. And then when she comes back, she wants me to listen to all of them. And it happened that I come across with this concerto, and then I just fell in love with it. And then I started learning it when I was 16, and played it with Sydney Symphony when I was 17, and then won the Rachmaninoff competition in the Philippines at the same year. And yeah, so to answer your question, I love this concerto because it has so many beautiful melodies. Um, I didn't even know that some melodies from this concerto influenced, let's say, Hollywood movies. So I was at the first time I was sight reading this piece, I was learning it. My mom would stop me because she usually listens to me um, while I'm practicing when I was younger. And then she would like, Ollie, stop. That part sounds familiar. And I was just like, what? And then she will be like, oh, that part is from this movie. And then it's all by myself. And then the part from the third movement, it's like, um, I'm not sure about the title. It's like Full Moon and Empty Arms. Is that correct? Yeah, the third movement. So, I mean, I knew that those are beautiful melodies, and it's something that I really love, but I didn't know back then it was that this concerto actually influenced some of the film scorers um, for some Hollywood movies. So that's one. I like it because it has beautiful melodies. Second, I just like it because it's pianistic. It fits perfectly um, in the hands, especially when you have big hands. But and third, I guess I just like how it's written. I like pieces that have big sonority. I also like how it's orchestrated. Um, and third, I like long phrases. And I think this is how I make music. And I like um, long phrases because it makes me go with the music flow rather than like short fragmented phrases. So that's why I like Rachmaninoff concerto, not just second, but in general, because they have this qualities in them.
Yes, I totally agree, right? Rachmaninoff, what would it be without that sonority and those long melodic lines? Is there anything else? I remember that your teacher is also Russian, Ollie, and so did that influence you to love this concerto?
Um, like my teachers being Russian didn't necessarily affected me to fall in love with this concerto. I would actually like this concerto or love this concerto even if my teachers weren't Russian. But I'm grateful that I was taught by Russian teachers because then I would feel more assured that how I'm playing it or approaching it or hearing it is closer to what a Russian person would um, interpreted it. So that's the only part that I'm thankful to all my Russian teachers. But regardless, if I wasn't taught by Russian teachers, I would fall in love with this concerto because this concerto is just a beautiful one.
Right. Thanks, Ollie. And now, maybe to a slightly different thing. What difficulties have you encountered on learning this concerto? Because I remember many it during the conservatory times. A lot of people say, "Oh, for the lady pianist, it's really very difficult because you need to be of a certain size, or your fingers have to be, your hand has span has to be very big." So, does that mean this concerto? One of the things is that you have to be of a certain size and hands have to be of a certain size too. What do you think about that?
Yes, I think that you have to be naturally selected in order to play this concerto, because the composer himself has big hands. So of course, naturally, he would compose something that is natural for his hands. And but I have encountered some pianists that didn't necessarily have big hands, but was able to navigate through this concerto. So I guess eh, you only have to have big enough hands to be able to do or to reach certain distance, I would say. But the most important thing is actually the flexibility. Yeah, like the span between the fingers rather than the actual um the hand span.
Hmm.
Like the most important thing is the distance here, the flexibility, and how you how you go through those things. Because sometimes, like for even for big hands, like some passages are hard because it's like on too small. So I would say that it might favor some small Asian girl. So there are parts where you need bigger hands, and there are parts where you kind of need like smaller hands. So yeah, but to answer your question, the difficulties I've encountered, um, first, a lot of notes. Like there's this is the first, like when I was 16, that this is the first time I actually encountered a piece where there's just so many notes. Of course, I've learned smaller Rachmaninoff works before I actually started this concerto, but yeah, this concerto is definitely a step higher. But it definitely improved my sight reading ability, and I would say that after learning this piece, my sight reading was really fast. Got you Second, of course, having said that it was pianistic, you still have to practice it. It's not easy. Even if it fits your hands, you have to practice those passages, those finger work, because you require a high level of precision, control, and accuracy. And yeah, it needs practice as well, because especially in this concerto, some of the finger work passages are orchestrated, are are put in a leaner texture, so where the finger work is actually transparent, so you really have to play them, because some areas when the texture is thicker, especially at the beginning where the orchestra is really playing the melody and you're just providing this harmonic filler. uh well, I mean, it would be awesome if you play all the notes, but if you miss like a couple, it wouldn't matter because the orchestra is actually having the melody. But there are parts where the orchestra is just having a harmonic prolongation of some sonority, and you're doing all this finger work. Then, yeah. So those parts are need to be bulletproof, solid, um, under your fingers.
So you definitely say, of course, definitely, as I said, everybody knows the Rachmaninoff concerto is not easy at all. So, congratulations for playing it so well, Ali.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest challenge, I think, once after you actually accomplish the technical aspect, the difficulty of the work, is having um, a good energy distribution, because the lines are so long that you have to be able to pace yourself, to really distribute energy evenly. So, because if you gave so much energy at the beginning, it actually creates an imbalance of energy all throughout that phrase. So that energy distribution has to be well planned as well. So I think this is the more difficult part of learning this concerto, because it's the phrases are so long.
So for viewers who don't probably understand what Dr. Oliver is saying, is that basically for a concerto, it consists of three movements and it's about 30 minutes. So you have the first movement, second movement, and third movement. First movement being fast, second movement is a slow movement, and followed by a fast last movement. So if you put too much energy in the first movement, then of course the second movement you had a little bit of a breather, but you might not have enough energy to have an exciting conclusion. Is that what you mean, Ali?
Uh,
Ali?
I think you were explaining it more on the architectural level, like
Yes.
pacing it in the architectural level, meaning you have to build stamina in order to play this concerto. I guess I'm more talking about how you distribute energy in a phrasal level, like
Okay.
especially when phrases are long,
Yes.
you have to make sure that the energy you give at the beginning is just about is just right, because if you give so much, then it creates an imbalance. You don't want to be banging in the climax of that phrase, because you just want it to be just right. So you want that balance of energy, you know
Correct. So you can see that the balance of energy is not just only in the phrasing, it's also balance of energy also in the pacing of the whole concerto itself, right?
yes, of
Uh,
course, of course.
yeah. Also, at the end of it, it's like 30 minutes. It's it's not a, a 10-minute run or 5 minutes, or or 14 minutes sprint. It is
It-
30 minutes, and you're on the
it-
go, and there's no stopping.
yeah, you just have to keep going.
Yes, right. So it's like a small mini marathon, right? Of course, there are some concertos like the Rachmaninoff third that goes on for about 45 minutes, right? 45 to 50 minutes, which will
Yeah.
be longer and even more challenging. And yes, so definitely the concerto number two is definitely something that's aspiring artists, or very good pianists would always want to aim to play if they are naturally endowed with that ability. Okay, I want to ask you for our last question, Ollie. I noticed that you are also full time at the European Academy Master Program, and I noticed there was also interesting part about the concerto section. So does that mean that our aspiring artists or pianists can join this program? What would you like to share with us? Some your thoughts on this?
Okay, so let me introduce this our academy to everyone. So basically, European Academy of Fine Arts, we offer three programs. So the full-time master program, the low residency master program, and the online artist diploma. So so the full-time our master's program, you have to be physically be in Sofia. European Academy is based in Sofia, Bulgaria, and that's where you actually take the courses. And then what's unique about our program is we have this low residency program where you can actually be um, situated in the city of your preference. Let's say if you're Singaporean and you want to be in Singapore and you have work, but you still want to get a degree in Europe, then that a low residency option is something that you can consider, because you can still finish the degree while you're actually doing work in Singapore, for instance. Um, and then we have their online artist diploma program. But the to have full details about our academy, you can visit our website. It's EAFA dot IAMU dot edu/piano. So that's the website for our piano academy. And so check it out. And we're very looking forward to meeting all of you. Okay, enough of the advertisement. But to answer your question, yes, the Concerto Project. The Concerto Project is an actual class that our master's students have to take in order to finish their degree. So at the end of their degree, they have to go to Bulgaria, to Sofia, play with our orchestra, their designated concerto, their preferred concerto, and also give a solo piano concert. And these two projects are recorded professionally, so our master's students can actually promote themselves after their degree as an artist. So all our graduates will be getting their diploma with masters in piano performance, music technology, and arts management. And these three areas are three areas that we believe pianists these days need to survive in our industry. So that's for the concerto project.
Okay, thanks so much, Ollie. So I think I managed to find an excerpt of Dr. Oliver Salonga playing the Rachmaninoff Concerto Number Two um, in Australia when he was 16. So
Oh my god, are you
we will share,
serious?
yes, and we will share it with our viewers. So
Oh,
please enjoy this section. Okay, thank you. So, Ali, so what do you think about it? What's your impression on hearing or excerpt and seeing yourself when you were 16? How does it feel?
oh um, okay. Definitely. Okay, when I was during my competition years, I usually when I get in on let's say a major international competition, usually I put Rachmaninoff's Second Concerto as my final concerto because every major international competition, when you check their concerto list for the final round, Rachmaninoff's Second Concerto is usually there. So when it's there, that's what I put. So I think all the years when every time I actually revisit the concerto, I would say how I play it is, I mean, it's never the same. It always, I always see something different. I always see something fresh about it. So to answer your question, I wouldn't necessarily play this concerto, approach this concerto the way I played it when I was 16 years old. You know, yeah, but I like the I like the fearlessness of the of my rendition of that when I was 16 years old. Because when you're young, you don't realize how hard things are. You just do it. And then as you grow older, and then you started asking yourself, how did I play it? Because it's like, then you realize that, oh wow, that's like some things are your thought process is different. You start to think um differently, hear things differently. Yeah, and yeah, but I mean, I would say not bad for a 16-year-old.
Right. So anyway, the fearlessness of youth, and now now you were listening to with slightly more mature years, right? But I'm sure also still young, Ollie. And we've come to the end of our interview with you. So happy that we are able to make acquaintance again, and from me speaking in Singapore and you speaking in Shanghai at the Face Arts Academy, right? Or Institute of Music. So in Singapore, and then you're in China now. So I hear you're also teaching a lot of Chinese students. So how have you found teaching students in China? What's it like?
I love being here. I love being in China because students are driven, and yeah, they practice a lot, and like, and you don't need to sugarcoat things. They can actually take a lot of information, and sometimes even the not so good comments, they can still actually take it. And that's a good thing about them because they're tough and driven. And so my students here in Faceart Institute of Music and in Seoul and Music Institute are are mostly from in study abroad programs. So study abroad students are actually the ones that aspire to go abroad overseas for a music degree. It can be undergrad or graduate level. So for this year, I'm just so happy that a student of mine got into Tokyo College of Music for undergrad, and another student got into four major conservatories in UK. And yeah, so study abroad program is big in Face Art Institute and in Hangzhou in Seoul and Music Institute. And what else? Yes, and I want to take this opportunity to promote our 10th anniversary and of Face Art Music Institute, our third music festival. And it's in July, from July 9th to July 25th. We invited professors from Juilliard School, Cleveland Institute, and Manhattan School of Music for our master classes. We also have lectures, and I think we plan to have 8 concerts. So 2 concerts will be in Shanghai Opera House, and then most of the concerts will be in the newly renovated Parsons Music Hall, concert hall here in Shanghai. So we're very, very excited for this coming festival, and hopefully all of um, interested applicants here in Asia would be interested to also join our festival. And yeah, thank you so much.
Yes, big congratulations, Dr. Oliver Salonga. Right, and we hope that that we also will be able to see your students in Singapore and the chance to work more closely together. Right, and so on this note, we would like to say thank you, Dr. Oliver Salonga. We really wish you all the very best. You have come a long way from when we first met you in Singapore in 2002, also playing the Rachmaninoff Piano Concerto, and now talking about the Rachmaninoff Concerto at Musicahan in March of 2021. How ironic it is, but you can see that really music opens doors and fosters closeness even for after many, many years. So once again, Oliver, thank you so much.
Thank you, Miss Nina, for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be in Musikahan.
Right. So from Musicahan, we would like to say we wish you and all the viewers a very happy and blessed weekend, and to say keep well, keep safe, God bless. Goodbye.